Hey guys, welcome back to the NBTXliving channel. My name's Chase Bradley.
I'm Veronica Bradley.
And today we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of living on the river. There are so many rivers all over Texas. Here in New Braunfels, we've got the Guadalupe River and the Comal River. You go a little bit further north into San Marcos, you've got the San Marcos River. There are rivers all around us, and people love living near the river. But is it worth the hype? Or is it not worth the hassle?
Okay, so let's get into this. Let's talk about number one, the great things of living on the river or near the river.
That's right, guys. My top pick for living on or near the river is going to be year-round water sports. That's right, guys. If you like fishing, you like swimming in the river, you like tubing, kayaking, any of those kind of things, being right next to the river is going to afford you a lot of opportunities to do that. And when we used to live in Corpus Christi, what did I do all the time? I went fishing. I could literally walk to the beach and go fishing. It was great. I really loved it. If you really love being outdoors, especially near the water, and you want to be able to fish and kayak, and living near the river is the best place to be.
Yeah, in addition to all the fun things he mentioned, there's paddle boarding, there's jet skiing. So the rivers, there's certain parts of the rivers that is calm. So if you don't like tubing, you don't have to go tubing. You can just there's a calm set of the river. There's other parts, obviously we're known for tubing, right? And the Comal River is very much known for tubing down a tube chute. But there's a lot of things that you can do. So I mean, if you're not a water person, maybe the river's not for you. But a lot of people here, and we get tourists coming into our area to have fun on our rivers.
And the next thing, I really love this. My background in marine biology, my background in just biology in general, is all the wildlife. You can see so much when you're out here. You're living near the river. You're living near any source of water, really. You get to see all different kinds of wildlife, whether it's deer, ducks, different kind of migratory birds. If you really like fish, which I really like fish, you get to see all of that too. Really awesome if you just love wildlife.
Yeah, and bonus, at least for me, is like when we're catching fish, I always ask him, what kind of fish is this? Because he knows all the names of the fish, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I just think that's pretty cool. So I'm always learning something new. 38 years old, still learning new things. So another benefit of living by the river is cooler temps. So we had a listing right off the river in Seguin. The backyard was literally the Guadalupe River. And every time we were out there, it was just such a beautiful breeze. There's more trees out. Obviously, there's more trees out there because you're right there by a body of water where you're going to have more greenery out there. So it was just always peaceful and cool. I don't think it was really that humid. I mean, when you go towards Houston, that's a different story. The humidity's crazy, but like over here, it's just cooler temperatures, especially if you have shade. So you can just cast your fishing pole in there and just be out there all day.
Yeah, guys, talking about an ideal situation to be outside, even like midday. We're outside, you're in the shade, you've got a nice cool breeze blowing across you. It feels great to be outside. For me, I don't know, I can't think of anything better than being able to go fishing, go swimming, right outside your backyard. And that house was like a really awesome house to be able to do.
I was trying to convince him to buy it.
It was perfectly set up for river life.
Well, we had a boating dock and it had a fishing pier. You can jump off the dock. Like I think it was perfect for the kids to I think it was like 6 feet by the pier, and then further out it goes to like 23 feet. So obviously wear a safety jacket. But yeah, I really, every time we went out there, I was like, please buy this home. He's like, we had to sell 3 investments home just to buy that home. But it didn't happen, obviously. Someone did buy it, and you can Airbnb out there too with short-term rentals. I mean, that's a different video we'll talk about, but it was just so much potential. And
that's this video. What are you talking about? Our fourth thing, if you buy a house near the river, even if you're not going to live in it yourself, you have a lot of investment opportunity there. Yeah. And that the person that bought that house, that's what they ended up using it for. As a part-time for themselves to have a nice, awesome place to go, during the summer or whenever they wanted to come down here. But the rest of the time, they were using it as a short-term rental and, make a little money for themselves, at least, maybe pay off the mortgage. give a lot of other people an opportunity to experience that river life. And then, for themselves, they can come down and, have a nice place to stay as well.
And it had an elevator. So if you didn't like the stairs because it was on stilts, because obviously it's by the river, you had an elevator. So I don't know. I'm a little sour that I didn't get that home. So we talked about the pros and some of the benefits of living on the river, but we can't, do this video without telling you the cons, like what's some bad things about being on the river or near the river. So although I feel like the pros outweigh the cons, there are some cons.
The elephant in the room, the one thing that everybody's going to ask about or talk about, flooding. Flooding. Texas, you're like, oh man, it barely rains in Texas. There's barely ever any precipitation here. But when there is, and you live near the river, it can be bad. We've seen times where it's flooded crazy and it's gone, 20, 30 feet up above the riverbank. And when you live near the river, a lot of times you will see houses that are on stilts. That's just a preventative, way to make sure that house is still livable even if it's flooded. But it is kind of a con for sure.
And then if you're going to live by the river or the ocean or any body of water where there's FEMA in our area categorizes the flood zones, plains, 100-year floodplain, 500-year floodplain. And if it's ever flooded in that time frame, there is record of it, so FEMA marks it. So that's how the insurance agents, you're getting homeowners insurance and whatnot, they're going to be like, oh, your home or some of your property is in a flood zone. So what's very important, if you're getting a home by any body of water and it's a flood zone, what's very important is that you need to make sure the previous owner who's selling that home has flood insurance.
The next con is houses on the river, houses near bodies of water in general do cost significantly more. So let's just say you had a 2,000 square foot home, 4-bedroom, 2-bath home in town. Today's rates is probably still over 350, somewhere around there, $1,000, $350,000. But if that was near the river, it could be a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home. Smaller, 1,200, 1,600 square foot. It'd be over $500,000, $600,000 a lot of the times. So yeah, if you're thinking about living by the river and having a house that's big enough for your whole family, it can get quite expensive.
Like that home that I mentioned before that we sold on the river. It was presented so well, and but if you took that home, right, and if you took it off of stilts, and you took that home to San Antonio, or you took that home to another part of Seguin, it would have not comped the same way. So I think that's what he's alluding to is there's smaller homes on the river because it costs more to live on the river. Now, if there was a bigger square footage home, if it was 2,000 plus, that would have been $1 million plus home, because that's what you get with living on the river or on the lake or by the ocean.
All right, and another thing that you just may not like about living near the river is everybody's gonna be on the river. We're talking about tourists. We're talking about even people that live in the city utilizing that natural resource for their own needs. They want to kayak on it, and your backyard is the river. You're gonna see people kayaking and swimming and fishing back and forth all the time. So let's say you're having a party and a group of kayakers or a group of swimmers go swimming by. They're like, hey, can we join your party? I don't know if that would ever happen or not.
It's Texas, but it probably does.
It probably does. If you live on the river, expect a little bit of your privacy to go away, right? Because there's going to be people on tubes, there's going to be people on kayaks, there's going to be the guys trying to get in there, find the awesome fishing spot. And it may just be your backyard, So.
And tourists in general take pictures. I'm not going to lie. When we're on the river, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful tree. I'm like, every tree I want to take a picture of. Or oh, I love their backyard. Let's get ideas. So you get people videotaping and taking pictures. But keep in mind, there are some people who live on the river that have, there's private areas you cannot access.
Final con is going to be pollution. And we're not just talking about, the tubers going through, leaving their food wrappers and their bottles, everything else. We're talking about big businesses using the water for industrial use and then, leaving chemicals in the water. that's a very negative. That's a negative part of living by the river, and definitely something you need to think about whenever you purchase a river property.
Yeah, and I mean, I absolutely agree with that. But I also know, because we get so many tourist people, and, you know, we've talked about in previous videos, like there's rules when you're on our river. You can't have cans and bottles. Like there's rules, and you have like the park rangers and cops, or I don't know, am I using the right word, like authority figures out there. They will fine you on the spot. I've seen where they opened up coolers and they dumped all the stuff out, and they made them throw away. And you're doing this to people on the river who might be drunk, and they're like, it's not a good scene, right? Because they're like, that's my beer. Like, but you have to follow the rules. So we're very big on it, and I'm such a rule follower, especially with keeping our beautiful lakes, rivers, bodies of water clean. We've done river pickup. My family and I, we all were out there picking up trash and couldn't believe the amount of stuff that you would find in the water.
All right, guys. So that was our list. That was about 4 pros and 4 cons about living on the river. If you live on the river right now, or you live near any body of water, and you say, hey, y'all guys are completely off base on that, let us know. Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If not, and you just like, hey, all this talking about living on the rivers got me really wanting to move, what do you gotta do?
You gotta call us, text us, or email us. Y'all, we answer our phones all the time. We're happy to help you. We are the agents here in this area who know the area so well, but you have to call us, text us, or email us, and we're gonna guarantee that you're gonna live your best life on the river in New Braunfels, in San Antonio, San Marcos, anywhere in Central Texas, because we have y'all's back.
That's all right, guys. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.